to make either the heart card or the Christmas tree card, you are going to use the same technique. I'm going to fold my paper in half and crease it. Then I'm going to measure in about 1 inch from the edge. I'm using marker so it shows up on camera. I would recommend that you use pencil so that you can erase it and write lightly. These are just guidelines for yourself. So now I have a mark 1 inch in from the folded edge of my paper. With the paper still folded, I am going to figure out where I want my tabs to be, and in this case, I think I'm going to make 1 inch tab there, and just draw a line to the fold, and I'm going to make another tab down here, when you have designed your card and you know which elements you are going to include in your pop-up, you can put the tabs wherever you would like to fit those elements. If you want to do a big element, I do suggest doing 2 or 3 tabs so that it can be supported on multiple areas of the card. So all I'm going to do is cut until I hit that 1 inch line that I drew in the beginning. I have my tabs. So now I'm going to open my card, and on the inside, open it, I am going to poke my tab through so I can get a finger under it, and I want to pinch along the sides, and then I want to reverse the crease that was originally, so this line here was originally part of this line here. I'm just pinching it so that the crease goes the other way. I'm going to do the same to this side, and you can pinch it this way first and then reach if you want, and then reach through, and you want to pinch the edges on both sides, and then you can close your card and run your hands across or even your library card just to confirm all of your creases. And now you have a base for your pop-up. All you would need to do is glue your pop-up to the tabs, and when you open the card, they will pop right out. Some simple hearts that I cut out of a coordinating color. So all I'm going to do is put a little glue stick on the back of my heart. Alternatively, I could put the glue directly onto my tab and just stick my heart down. Just a cut. Now, to make this work properly, first of all, don't use glue stick, but that's what I have. Second of all, my heart will bend when I fold it back into the card. So when I go to open my card, it may have a little bend to it. You can also solve this problem by folding your heart in half. Now you can either put your heart on your card with the fold down so that it stays with the pop-up, or you could fold it sideways so that it is glued down to the side of the paper and the tab. That is how the Christmas tree was made. So I would put some glue on my tab, and I would put some glue on half of my heart. And I would put the folded edge of my heart right along the edge of the tab. And then the tab will go through and glue itself to the other side of the heart and pop open. I could even put another heart on this side. And you can take a completely uncut piece of paper to put over to hide your notches. You can see that the outside of this card is orange and the inside is yellow, with half of the tree glued to the page, the other half glued to tabs. And you can see how the orange page was just glued over top to hide the tabs. This one is an example of gluing the crease in your heart or whatever object you are looking to put down directly onto the crease of your tab. You can see the smaller heart fits within the tab, but the larger heart is also creased and glued on the sides. But it does fold. You can see how it's red on the outside, green on the inside, and you have these lovely hearts popping out in front of you. Now I'm going to show you how to make the Think Spring with the springing flower. And I can let you know right now that all of the shapes in here are just hearts. The butterflies are hearts that are facing each other, and the flower is 4 hearts kind of overlapped a little to make a flower. So here's a heart, there's a heart, another one here, and the 4th one here. So I'm going to teach you how to make the spring. So to make the spring, you will need 2 strips of paper. They can be any color. I'm using 2 different colors so that you can see as I manipulate them. They can be pretty much any length. The longer the strips of paper, the longer your spring is going to be. So all you want to do is put some glue on one end of a paper and take your other paper and lay it across so that the ends match up, but they look like a clock face saying 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock. From here, what you want to do is, right now orange is on top, so I'm going to bring over brown, then orange, then I'm going to flip it so that brown's back on top, orange, brown, orange, brown, orange, brown, and they just go back and forth until you get to the end. Now you can trim these. So you want to put just a little bit of glue onto the end so that your very last fold, and only your last fold, so my very first connection, very last connection here and my very first connection here are the only ones with glue. I'm going to trim my edges, and now I have a little spring that I can compress down when the card is closed, and it will pop back up when the card is open. Add some glue and stick it down. So when my card is closed, it looks like there's nothing there. But as soon as I open it, it pops right out. Now, the longer that you make your strips of paper, the longer your spring will be. The trick is you want it to be long enough so that it does compress and pop out. You can see it kind of dwinging like a real spring. So you want to make it long enough that it will compress and pop out, but not too long that if you hold it like this, you don't want it to droop. One fun idea for Hanukkah is to send a menorah card. Start with a piece of paper and fold it in half lengthwise. Then fold it in half and fold it in half again. And open it back up. Now, a menorah usually has 8 candles, but we've only made 4 pockets, so we can put 2 candles per pocket or tape 2 pieces together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to refold and then take the last fold and put it backwards so that I have a little accordion. Now I'm going to put this card to the side and cut 8 rectangles out of my white piece of paper. So I'm doing that by folding my paper in half, and then in half, and then in half, to mimic the folds in this piece. Now, with my paper still folded, I am going to cut slightly inside of the fold so that I end up with 8 separate candles, slightly skinnier than this current width. Now I can separate my candles, and by cutting slightly inside of the seam, not only did I end up with separate pieces, but you can see that I can now fit 2 candles per section without them completely touching each other. So now I have a piece of yellow paper, and I'm going to fold this lengthwise, the same that I did the white. So 3 folds total. And you can do this with a spare or scrap piece of yellow if you have it. And what I'm going to do is, you will use a pencil. I'm using a marker so it shows up. I'm going to make a little tab and then trace my flame. And I'm going to cut out my flame. Making sure that I keep my little tab intact. And now I have 8 little flames. We're not using the red for this project, but I want you to be able to see the white. So all I'm going to do is put some glue all along the top of my white. Put my flame on so that my little tab, maybe add some more glue, and fold my white in half. Put a a little crease in it. And now I have a nice little candle with flame. Do that for the other 8 candles. So I'm going to take my blue and open it all the way with the crease facing up. The middle crease should be a valley so that I can fold it back in. You do not want your crease as a mountain because you are going to fold it back up. So I'm just going to use this green paper as a way to break up the white of the candle and a white of my filming studio. And all I'm going to do is use my glue to put 2 candles in each little section, making sure that I have 1 candle that's taller than the others to make a proper menorah. Or if you'd like, just to keep it symmetrical, you could keep everything even. So you can apply your glue directly to your blue, not rhyming on purpose, or you could apply it to your candle. So just glue sticking. A little too much glue sticking, because I don't need it up at the top. I'll put that one aside to dry. So all I'm doing is putting some glue along the top of my glue squares, and then fixing my candles, or affixing I should say. Getting lots of stick. Putting the candles on. Now this particular candle you can kind of see the marker. That is why you should use pencil. And I'm putting one a little bit taller than the other. And now what I need to do is add glue to my candles, but I am only putting the glue below the blue line. So now that I've got them all glue sticked, I'm just going to fold and smooth it over. I got a chunk of glue stick on my finger. So pardon me while I'll wipe that where it'll do some good. So now that my candles are thoroughly glued into place, I can re-crease my card. And now I have a little double-sided menorah card. And you can choose a front and put photos and decorations and words of holiday cheer on all of your panels. And it should fold up nice and neat to be able to put in an envelope. I would say this would fit in a letter size envelope. And then be displayed nicely on someone's mantle. I'm going to need 2 pieces of paper. I'm using red and green because I am making a tree. And I'm just going to stack them on top of each other and fold them in half. Now I'm going to take away the green and work with the red one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one piece and fold it back so that the cover has a crease in it. And I'm going to open it up a little so that I have my 1/4 of my page bent back. And I'm going to work with this section here with this crease mark that I had from the middle, I'm going to put that back so you can even like really define it so you can see it. I'm going to use that as my edges, and what I'm going to do, I'm using a marker. You would use a pencil so that it is light lines that you can erase. I am going to draw a Christmas tree shape and then cut it out on the fold so that when I open my page, I will have a full tree that is perfectly symmetrical. So I am leaving some room at the top and some room on the bottom and a little bit of room on the side. Each time I am using slightly swoopy lines to give it a little bit more of that real fir tree design. And every time I swoop in towards my fold, I'm swooping about the same so that I have a little bit more tree as it fills out, a little bit of a diagonal. So with the paper still folded, I'm just going to cut along my lines. Alright, so now I have my tree cut out. So if I fold back and fold open, you can see that I have my tree. And I can even add, I'm going to add my green back to the inside. I am going to take, I'll take my marker. And what I'm going to do is trace with this line as flat and as even as I can make it. I'm going to trace only this side of the tree using my fold line as a guide. And I'm tracing onto the green. Okay, and then I'm going to cut right there, and I can even go straight down and straight up, and I'm going to cut away all of this, leaving my little tree shape. I'm going to do that with the page open because I only want to cut this, not this. Alright, take away my scraps. And speaking of scraps, I do have this lovely little red Christmas tree that I could use to adorn some other card. Or even this one. I could just glue that in as a piece. It is folded, so if you wanted to, you could put some glue. Probably white glue would work best, but you could use glue stick just along here and glue it in. And then it would pop up a little when you open the card. Now that I have my two pages, I am going to stack them with the red on the inside. And I am going to fold my red down, make sure that your center creases line up. I'm going to put glue only on the left side of my front red cover, only up to my fold line. And being careful with placement, I am going to fold my green down onto that cover. So So you can see that this half of my red is still free, and you can see that it does perfectly match up with the green because that's how we had cut it. So now what I'm going to do is put glue on the other half of my red. This is because I did cut a little bit too far on my bottom tree branch. So I'm just going to fold my red over my green and stick it in place. Alright, so it's green over red and then red over green. And I now have a green Christmas tree on a red background that opens to still show a green Christmas tree. So what I'm going to do now is put a whole bunch of glue between these two pages. Or if you're putting in a full Christmas letter, you could write on those pages. But I am going to just do a big splotch of glue, 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 glue. Close it up. And now I have my little cutout Christmas tree card.